G'day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan Metal video. In this video we are going to take a look at how the new Strength Super Vegeta performs in Extreme Super Battle Road. So this is the brand new Super Vegeta. He came out with the New Year's banner and we're going to take a look at how he performs in the Pure Saiyans Extreme Super Battle Road stage. Now Vegeta has 100,000 defense. He's very solid after he gets his first hit and after he supers, but Pure Saiyans Esbr is an incredibly finely tuned stage. If Vegeta is supered by Goten before he is hit by a attack, he will still probably die. You can see that massive reduction from Trunks' damage from 26k to 1, and yeah. So even with Vegeta taking the hit, if he doesn't get his super off, he's still going to take a ridiculous amount of damage. And that's evident there. I mean, we had a Whis active, which is probably one of the best defensive items you can use in the game, barring like a King Yemma for a single turn. It happens sometimes. It's not really something that you can prepare for. I don't believe it says anything about Vegeta. I mean, having an item active and being hit by a type advantage super attack that does, like a bajillion damage is pretty difficult to handle. It's not really something that most units can just kind of get up and walk away from. So, I don't really believe we can judge Vegeta on that. Vegeta is kind of a hit hard, hit fast kind of unit. If you manage to get him through the first hit, then it's generally a good situation for him. I brought the support skill, or the support memory I should say, so that we can have a slightly better time. We're going to activate the Whis, but we'll run into the same problem. If we get supered before Vegeta gets to get his attack off, he's going to die. And it's not really something that we can absolutely control. Now, if we do manage to get his attack off, we will be able to stun, and we have guaranteed crits, and that's going to be really good. Trunks super there, which is fine. We don't take too much damage there. 70k still from Goten. Vegeta's defense will go up a lot now after him firing the super attack, and you can see that big damage there. I mean, huge damage. Gets a nice little attack off as well. Stuns the Goten. Fantastic. I think in Esbr, you're going to see the best out of Vegeta in the second slot or in the third slot. The reason I say this is just because him having the chance of being supered without an item active or anything like that and just being absolutely trounced before he can even get off his super attack is something that we just, have to kind of deal with. And I just, it's very difficult for me to say anything about that, because Pure Saiyan stage can do that to a lot of units. It's not just like Vegeta who will struggle with this. It's a lot of units that struggle with this. I mean, even exceptional units. Like, look at this Broly, one of the top-notch defensive units in the game. He would still take damage, and we've got 2 items active now. He has additional damage reduction after the super. And yeah, it's still very challenging. It's still very difficult. So they hit very hard in the stage, so it's not something I believe that we can judge Vegeta with, considering the way we are trying to use him for the demonstration. The important thing to note is that he did an incredible amount of damage. He did, basically half of Goten's health, critted him, and got the stun off, which prevented any more damage for the rest of the turn. The stun and the crit are guaranteed, so it's not like Vegeta's not giving us good work, which I think, is fantastic. And yeah, just realistically for me, I just think, Vegeta is, like I said earlier, just a hit hard, hit fast kind of unit. He thrives on doing big damage. He thrives on taking out units. He eliminates enemies in 1 turn, 2 turns, and 203,000 damage. That's pretty nuts. yeah, you can't do anything really about that. It's pretty ridiculous. Obviously, you know, we took the turn with no item, just because, you know, wanted to test how things go. But that is pretty ridiculous. That level of kind of damage that he did. So it is one of those things. It is type disadvantage, so yeah, it's not the end of the world. But it is definitely just one of those things that we kind of like. A lot of units will struggle with. So I really don't want to judge Vegeta on stuff like that. Although obviously it is something to bear in mind. You know, he doesn't have damage reduction. He doesn't have evasion. So he is prone or can have the ability to take some pretty hard-hitting super attacks, and I think that is something to take note of. However, the offensive output that he brings is just so good that it's really difficult to say don't take him. I think his offensive output is incredible, and I think the level of damage he does kind of warrants taking him. Like I said, it is probably best to run him in the second or third slot. You will be losing some damage output for sure, but for the most part, especially if you have a tankier unit in the first or second slot, you know, to kind of just let him do his thing, I think overall you're going to have a much better time. I mean, look, this is Broly. Broly is a fantastic unit as well, who has damage reduction against, you know, hybrid Saiyans and pure Saiyans, and he gains additional damage reduction, and he had an item active, and he still is going to take a tremendous amount of damage from these units. You know, this super attack here, Broly now has like 3 different levels of damage reduction on. He still took 130k. And Broly's a much more defensively orientated unit than Vegeta. Broly excels offensively in situations against Saiyans and hybrid Saiyans, but you can see comparably Broly's attack stat to Vegeta's attack stat is non-comparable, and Broly's offensive output's not the same as Vegeta's. So, like I said, it is a very difficult thing to judge them on their defense, especially in a stage like this where units just hit hard. They just hit hard. They don't care. They just hit really hard. I think the units in this stage actually hit as hard as the final stages of the LGEGT. I think. Just working on the maths, you know, the fact that they are doing 70, 60k, you know, against units with 120,000 defense, with items active, you know, it checks out. It's pretty tough out here. So, you know, I don't really want to dismiss their defense. The fact that they can get through the fights means that their defense is viable enough. And I think the utility he provides and the big damage he provides is fantastic. So I think Vegeta is definitely a great unit for the stage. I just think he's not necessarily a defensive unit for the stage, if that makes sense. He's not like a big tank. He's not like SS3 Vegeta, who's just going to soak up damage for you. Vegeta can tank relatively well after he supers, after he takes a hit. He'll tank really quite well with an item, but it's more his offensive output that you're really going to want to kind of focus on, because that's going to give you a lot more from the unit overall and just a much better performance, really. So yeah, I think, you know, Vegeta still really cool though. I really like his animations. I do like his kit. The fact that he stuns does help, even if it is just for one turn. Especially if you have him in the second slot there, you can prevent some damage to him and the third, the floating unit, which is always great. It is nice utility, and it does help in this stage, especially because you're only fighting 2 enemies for each fight. So him being able to get off that really solid level of offense and utility is really great. And then of course him critting also just means that he doesn't really have a type disadvantage in terms of offensive output. So he can really kind of like nail down and do a lot of good damage to units as well. So I think overall, you know, just from my side, I just think, yeah, Vegeta really does do a decent job. Can see here again, like he's not going to get the hit here because he's stunned. So this will give a good idea. 3.2 million. So in the second slot, he'll be giving you a 3 million guaranteed crit. Honestly, it's almost worth keeping him in the second and third slot just for the guaranteed crit, rather than going for the defensive build. or I say trying to get that additional million. If you can take the gamble, I mean maybe only Mystic Gohan or Ultimate Gohan, sorry, is attacking in that turn, then you can kind of take the gamble, but I mean, yeah, realistically it's just a very, very difficult situation. Like, we'll use Broly's, this is Broly's active skill, so this is going to push Broly up a lot. Broly's also stacked his defense like quite a few times at this point. He also has baseline damage reduction, and we have a lot of health left. I think Gohan's going to hit him for like a solid 200 and something thousand or more, I think. Like, Gohan's going to hit him bad. Yeah, 214. That is how hard. Gohan's normals with a type advantage, yeah, but Gohan's normals are like in the range of 180, 200k. Like, that's how much his normal attacks hit, which is pretty close to LG, EGT, and LVE levels. Like, these guys hit really hard. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the Vegeta unit. I just think, yeah, these guys they hit real hard. They smack. We'll try and get the Dokkan skill here, but we won't succeed, unfortunately. We use double items, but we just short of the health pool. I should have used an Icarus. Vegeta might possibly have one turn this with the Dokkan skill, which would have been great. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think we've seen enough to understand that Vegeta is exceptional offensively, but he's definitely a second or third slot unit. I think if you want to run him in this stage specifically, in some other ESBR, he will probably handle it better in the first slot. A lot of ESBR are adjustable in the sense that they're more or less difficult based on the category, so he might do better in others. But that's it from me, guys. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and if you have any other thoughts, leave a comment. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care, stay safe, and bye!